Alright guys, in this video we're going to go over all the stretching basics. And stretching is very important because it allows you to warm up your muscles. It allows you to keep your muscles elastic, so this way you can go ahead and do exercises with more range of motion. And it's also it keeps your muscles loose and safe. Anything you want to add to this, Dan?
Yeah, I would have to say that especially if you want to carry a large amount of muscle, stretching is very, very important. I have a friend who has a powerlifting background, 5'2", probably around 150, like very good physique. He actually looks very good, but he carries a huge amount of muscle and was very inflexible. By the time he got to be around 35, he sustained a huge amount of injuries, tore his groin, ripped his knees apart, ankles, back, basically like every part of his body, and it's really unfortunate now because he has a tough training at full intensity. So very important, especially if you want to have a lot of muscle.
So basically your friend, because he's not flexible, you said it actually made him weaker.
Yeah, much weaker because he can't, he can't really train anymore, which is, kind of a tragedy.
Okay, so stretching is very important. And again, we're going to go over all the basics of stretching, so it's not going to be very, very complicated. And let's go and show them what we got.
Okay, so first thing, when you're doing a leg workout or squats or something like that, what I like to do is warm up a little bit first, and then I'll do this stretch right here. Basically, if we could get a side view on this, this stretch is going to stretch the quadriceps, the front of the legs right here. And what you want to do is you want to balance on the ball of your foot and actually extend out a little bit.
On this stretch, and I know a lot of guys watching, Dan, is probably going to try this and they're going to fall over.
Yeah. So if you have trouble balancing, I like doing that because it's also good training for your balance. But if you have trouble balancing, just grab onto something like this. Same idea. Just hold that, switch legs. Okay. Another good one, kind of a bread and butter, is the butterfly stretch. You take your feet like this, and you have a few goals. First of all, you want to put your feet to your groin. You want to take your knees and put them as far to the ground as possible, and then you want to bend your head towards your knees, towards your feet.
And I notice on this stretch, Dan, a lot of times I see guys when they're doing this stretch, they tell somebody to try to force their legs down. What do you think about something like that?
If you're advanced, you can do that lightly, but you got to be very careful with that because you can, easily rip your own groin. So yeah, you can do a little bit, but I wouldn't recommend doing too much.
Okay. And what happens if somebody isn't able to get their feet, all the way to their groin? Would you say just kind of work on it slowly, or? Yeah,
that's fine. Like usually when you start off, most guys are going to be around like here, and that's okay. Basically, what I would work on first is getting the knees farther and farther down until when you're out here, you can get pretty close to the ground. Then slowly start to like take your feet and put them a little farther in. Again, like don't go like too far, but slowly put them farther and farther in until they're pretty much touching your groin right here.
And guys, just to let y'all know, y'all watching, Dan stretches all the time, and so that's why I wanted to go ahead and kind of let Dan show all the stretches. Stretching is very important, and I don't think Dan would be as strong or as flexible as he is if he didn't constantly do that. So I definitely recommend y'all guys stretching on a daily basis to really go ahead and improve on every single stretch.
Definitely. Another really good one, the hurdler stretch right here. Basically what you want to do is you want to take this leg and put the sole of your foot on the inside of your thigh here, and then reach out. If you can't reach all the way, then that's okay. Just hold it right here, and this is going to be a stretch. If you can, reach out and grab your foot like this, and then pull yourself like that. And you can do the same thing on the other leg. Another good one is to kind of do a split like this, and if you're just starting, you're probably going to be like this, and just reach and hold. If you have trouble doing this at first, one thing which you can do is to do this near something which you can grab, and then pull yourself very gently like this. Don't pull too hard, but just gently stretch yourself.
One question I think some of the guys may have is, how far is too far? Because when you're stretching, you feel like it's starting to rip a little bit. What's the time that hey, I should stop? And what time do maybe I even got injured and I need to stop?
So when you're stretching, you should feel like you're pushing yourself. Like this should be, like right here is kind of a challenge. I definitely feel it, but it's not like painful. It's just like, it's a gentle stretch and no sharp pains, like no like stinging pains or anything like that. Just kind of challenging challenging, but I know like right here I'm not gonna get injured. If I started like, if I was doing this and my voice started straining like that, then that's when I know that I'm going too far.
Okay.
Another really good one is the pigeon stretch. Basically take one leg and put it out at a 90-degree angle like this, and take your other leg and put it behind you, and put your hips as far down towards the ground as you can get them. When you're first starting, you're probably going to be like this, and that's okay. And as you get more advanced, you're going to come down further towards the ground until you see, people who do yoga a lot, they're basically laying on the ground right there. And this is really good. It really works your inner thigh and really helps prevent injuries, especially during squats or heavy leg training. Another good one, if you feel that your groin is a little bit tight when you're doing squats, I do this all the time. This is a very good groin stretch you can do kind of on the fly without having to go into the full butterfly. Basically go down with your heels touching like this and use your elbows to stretch your groin apart. Like that. And that's good, like if you're doing squats, you feel a little bit like this will usually take that right away.
And I notice a lot of guys, I hear a couple guys tell me like, well, stretching takes so long, and and I noticed you just said, you can't just do it on the fly. It can be something really fast. What do you want to tell the guys that that don't want to spend that extra little bit of time stretching?
First of all, I would say I think stretching improves your physique. Because I feel like, especially if you carry a lot of muscle, if you're like very rigid and inflexible, you kind of look like a gorilla a little bit. You get to be a little bit stiff like this, and you're not very graceful. A good example, if in the movie Pumping Iron with Arnold, I think one of the reasons why he won so many times was he's very big, but he's very graceful. I think stretching helps with that a lot. And the other thing is, how long does it take to recover from an injury? You're actually saving a lot of time by stretching because you're not getting injured as often, and you don't have to spend as much time in physical therapy rehabbing yourself. So you save time by stretching.
That's a good point. And I want to make a confession. I mean, I didn't used to stretch so much during my younger years when I was lifting, and you know what? That's probably a good reason why I probably got injured a lot of times. Muscles, pulls, and things like that. And I recently just started stretching a couple years ago, and I realized I'm not getting injured anymore.
Yeah.
And at first I thought it was because I'm just learning how to exercise better, but I realized also I'm going into farther range of motion, and I don't experience any tears or any pains or anything like that. So that's a very good point. And I definitely recommend y'all guys, don't wait till you get injured before you start stretching, because like Dan said, injuries are such a setback, and I probably lost years and years of lifting time, and because I had to go through recovery.
Yeah, definitely. And I went through the same thing actually, where I never used to stretch at the beginning of my career, and I would get injured all the time. But basically through a combination of stretching and being very sensitive to minor injuries and kind of babying them, I haven't had a major injury in years. And I train twice a day right now, so that's the stretching I feel is a very, very key component of that.
Awesome. What can guys stretch for their upper body?
Okay, so a few good ones. This right here is a good stretch for your tricep and your back. Basically, you want to grab and you want to stretch your tricep like this. And you should really feel that in the back of your arm and kind of in your rear deltoid. Another good one is like this. Kind of common mistake with this one is guys will just kind of grab and pull. What you want to do is you actually want to put your forearm like this and use the power of your bicep to make this a stretch.
So you're almost curling your arm into yourself.
Exactly, yeah, and this is really where you have the leverage to really stretch that tricep.
Wow, okay, I can really feel a difference, and you're right, because I was one of those guys that just kind of pulled there when I was younger. So your forearm and you pull it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, awesome.
Another good ones to kind of stretch your obliques here is just lean like this and stretch, and you can lean in the other direction and stretch.
I think a common mistake that guys make on that one is instead of leaning, they look like they're reaching.
Yeah, it's the key is to go completely to the side. If you go, if you start going like this, then it's not anything. But if you really go completely to the side, then you should really feel it all down here.
So your arm is completely above your head. It's not in front of your head right here.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, and you can see here I'm just basically bending my back. Here I'm just basically arching my back. But through the side is where the stretch is. And then one other thing which I'll do if I ever feel like a little tightness in my shoulder, I really want to make sure to baby that, because if you tear your rotator cuff or something like that, that's a very serious injury which is going to keep you out for a while. So what I'll do is we'll just start off and rotate the shoulder like this. I'll do this maybe like 10 times forwards, and then I'll rotate it like this and do it 10 times backwards. And doing it like that before I do like the military press or something like that tremendously reduces the chance of injury.
Okay, good. What about for your chest? What's a good one for your chest?
Okay, so here are a few good stretches for your chest. One which I like to do a lot is to put my hands on two objects which are spread apart from each other, and which I can put my body in the middle. A squat rack will work, a doorway will work well, or even a corner of a room will work well too. So basically what you want to do is you want to put your hands on the two objects, and you want to just use the weight of your body to go forward. And this, it should feel very easy. You're not using any strength, you're just leaning forward and stretching your chest. Another good one is to take your hand like this, and then to do the same thing and to lean forward and to stretch your chest by twisting a little bit into it. And Mike, I believe you had a good lat stretch which we wanted to show too.
Yeah, a good lat stretch would be, you can stretch your lats with two hands, grabbing onto an object. Sometimes I even use a table or something like that. You can put your hands on top of it, or you can grab on something like this. And you want to go ahead and stretch. And you want to stretch downwards. You're not trying to pull something. So you're not trying to pull it, you're trying to just go downwards. So you want to drive the force downwards here so you can really feel the stretch in your lats. And if you wanted to get a more deeper stretch, you can actually go with one arm at a time, like this. And go with the other arm, like that. And one important thing when it comes to stretching is basically when people are stretching, you'll always notice that people seem to be jerking a lot, and bouncing, and they're doing something like this or they're doing something like that. I mean, what do you think about jerking and bouncing versus doing it slow and controlled?
Basically, I've seen like very advanced athletes do that, like right before a match. But other than like super advanced athletes, nobody should be doing that. That can be very dangerous, especially if you're a beginner and you start like jerking around and bouncing. Then yeah, you can very easily injure yourself and kind of defeat the whole purpose of stretching.
Okay. All right, so there you have it for stretching, and make sure, again, keep in mind, stretching is very important, and you may spend a little bit of extra time doing that, but it's so much more important to do it now than to experience injuries and not be able to get the physique you want just because of lack of spending about 5 or 6 minutes.
Definitely.